Hey there, everybody. This is Mrs. Bashman, and we're going to finish up working on the layers of our collage. Here you see that I'm about to start sketching out an image of my hand. I couldn't find a position I wanted online, so I took a photo. Here I'm going to flip the image because I need the hand to be facing the other direction. So I go to Edit, and I just flip it around. I'm just going to freehand sketch the hand here because I want the adult hand to be on the shoulder of the child, and I want the child's hand to be resting on the shoulder just underneath the adult's hand on the left-hand side of the drawing here, or of the collage that we're working on. So as you see, last time, 50 minutes of work, we managed to get the entirety of the background on both the left and the right side of the collage finished, as well as the skin tone for the adult face on the left and right side, and neck and chest on the left and right side, as well as the face mask on the right side. So in this video, you're going to see me finish all of the layers of collage for this piece before I start adding painting, drawing, and finishing touches onto the top of it. So let me speed things up. Here you see an image of the collage after 2.5 hours of work, just laying down the layers before I start adding the drawing and painting on top of that. So let's take a look at some of what I've accomplished here. I wanted to have a representation of myself, but I didn't want it to be very direct. I wanted it to be a little bit more representational. So here I have a generic woman and child, both of which are representing different aspects of myself. And I wanted to show that split down the middle. I wanted to have a dichotomy. So here I have the left side and the right side are completely different. I've also utilized a dividing line. The dividing line that you see here with those red circles are graphs of how effective vaccines have been over the years in battling against different illnesses. And you'll notice the symbolism of Christ on the cross right here in front of the woman's chest. He is the only thing that spreads from the left and the right side. So he is a bridge. You know, spirituality is kind of a bridge between, for lack of a better term, the light side and the dark side of this particular self-portrait. So on the left side, I tried to illustrate calm, soothing nature scenes of two of my favorite places in the world, one being the subtropical beaches that we have down here in the south, and the other being the beautiful mountains and forests of the Pacific Northwest. So I have different scenes on the left representing that. I have a butterfly, which I added, which represents rebirth, change, and growth, as well as some birds and some leaves. I wanted to illustrate nature, growth, nurturing. So I used a lot of papers that had natural plant matter in them. I also wanted to illustrate creativity, learning, and exploration. So I have an image of a child looking into a creek or a river, and I also have a stack of books and a woman reading here in the shirt, as well as some paintbrushes in the shirt on the left-hand side to represent creativity. I wanted to illustrate nurturing and love and acceptance, so I have the woman's hand resting on the shoulder of the child, and the child's hand reaching up, just barely touching the hand of the woman there. So let's take a look at the other side, the right side, for lack of a better term. We'll call it the dark side. Here I also have some nature scenes, but the coloration is completely different. It's much redder, darker. All of the colors on this side are a lot bolder and deeper than the colors on the left side. I also included that image of the woman slipping off of the concrete platform, and I tilted it just a little bit to give you that sense of, foreboding that she is about to fall off. When it was level, it looked kind of like she was climbing up, but I wanted it to really look like she was slipping off of the ledge there. I used some papers similar to the papers that I used on the left-hand side. I used natural papers that had some natural fibers in them. However, I used much darker toned papers. I also used a lot of text from magazine clippings that I cut out and applied. I did not apply any text to the left-hand side of the collage, just the right-hand side so far. and these words all stood out to me, and I snagged them and then cut them up and added them to my collage. I'm really excited about how the bottom right hand side of the collage came out. Um, I didn't want the whole right hand to be about the coronavirus. I wanted it to be about more than just that, but it really started to just take over everything. So I ended up printing out a picture of what the coronavirus looks like, colored it in with colored pencil, cut around it, and then applied it. The other thing that I really did like doing was I made it three-dimensional by printing out two of the same image, cutting it, and then layering it so that the top layer could curl up and away from the bottom layer. So it's three-dimensional. So I've done a lot of fun stuff on this so far. I've got little images of what look like tiny little contagions kind of floating and bubbling up, like they're reaching up towards this woman that's kind of on the verge of falling into this pit here, with the disease down here at the bottom being what she would end up falling into. And I had these spikes that are leaning up, almost like a mouth or like some sort of trap that she's going to fall onto. I found another great image of a girl sitting on the ground with her hands over her face, kind of curled up in a ball. And I used that as the clothing for the child on the right hand side. Instead of having the hand resting gently on the child's shoulder on this side, I have the hand in a blue glove that's kind of more clenched and, almost like gripping, like afraid of letting go. So I've got a lot of symbolism going on, a lot of different things that are, more than just what you see on the surface here. From everything from the type of papers that I selected to how I put my imagery down. Everything has some sort of purpose or meaning. So what I'm going to do next for my last 50-minute session is I'm going to add paint and writing to my piece. So I'm going to draw and paint directly on top of that. So we'll take a look at that next class.